Dolly Parton is one of America's most popular country music singer-songwriters, and easily one of the country's most likable celebrities. But it's not just her music she's famous for. She's a great interview guest and isn't afraid to speak her mind or make the odd gaffe or two. Let's look back at some of the craziest Dolly Parton interview moments caught on camera. Let's go back to 2018. Dolly Parton appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon to discuss her work for the soundtrack of the film Dumplin'. The film starred Jennifer Aniston, who quickly became the subject of the chat between Parton and Fallon. Out of nowhere, Dolly mentioned that her husband found Jennifer Aniston very attractive. She stated he kind of fantasizes about a threesome with her. Jimmy Fallon then tried to change the subject as the crowd burst with laughter. But this attempt to divert the conversation was to no avail. Dolly followed up her statement by mentioning her husband, quote, couldn't get it up to pee, let alone, well, you can figure out the rest. Once again, both Jimmy Fallon and the audience were in shambles. He threw himself out of his chair and Dolly herself burst out in laughter. The audience roared and applauded Dolly Parton. The interview went on with Jimmy praising Dolly for her talent and niceness. This was a sweet exchange between the host and the guest, but we think the bit about the threesome is what most of us will remember about the interview. Before we tell you more about the craziest Dolly Parton interview moments caught on camera, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First for more. Advice for teenagers. Young people often look to celebrities for advice. Celebrities, for better or for worse, are often seen as role models. A young teenage boy asked Dolly, quote, if you could tell teenagers of America one thing, whether it be advice or something of support, what would it be? Dolly smiled and gave succinct and profound advice. She said, I would say act like it's raining every day and wear your rubbers. Advising young teenagers to protect themselves if they have sex. Not bad advice. Yet one of Dolly's craziest and funniest interview moments that won her a round of applause. Dolly's views on plastic surgery and her dreams. Dolly was interviewed on Parkinson, perhaps the UK's most famous talk show of all time. The host, Michael Parkinson, asked her about her life and career and how she persevered to become the star we love today. Dolly wasn't afraid to let loose and make the audience and Michael Parkinson laughed. She mentioned she wanted to have a unique look when she grew up. She stated she based her look on a few, quote, loose women who lived in her Tennessee town. This made the audience chuckle. She then recalled her mother stated that such clothes were trash. She told her mother, that's what I want to be, Mama. She then discussed how she wasn't naturally beautiful, to which the audience gave a long awe and disagreement. She discussed how she wasn't as beautiful as her fellow guests, but then immediately made the audience laugh once again. She quipped how she wasn't tall because she got bunched up at the top. Michael Parkinson then asked, were you always bunched up at the top? To which she replied, well, I've always had biggins. She then joked that her husband asked to see her boobs and she had to pull her skirt up. She made Michael Parkinson laugh and slapped him on the knee as the audience roared with laughter. This wonderful interview is a fine example of how likable Dolly Parton is and how her charming personality crossed boundaries. Jokes about her plastic surgery. In an interview with Oprah, Dolly wasn't afraid to make jokes about her numerous plastic surgeries. While it seems to be a concern for many talk show hosts, she laughed it off and talked about how she was always keen to get plastic surgery. She joked that many of the audience members were so young that she was getting plastic surgery when they were sleeping on plastic sheets. In this interview, she also talked about her struggles growing up by mentioning she began working at age 10. Dolly in the morning. Dolly gave an interview to Gayle King on CBS this morning when she was 70 years old. The interview was a serious one, at least that's what it was intended to be. But with Dolly around, she wasn't afraid to bring her humor and natural charm. She talked about how she bought a Cadillac when she became a country star and that it was gold. This interview is perhaps one of the best ones to get to learn about Dolly's incredible life and career. But you'll also get her hilarious gaffes and admire her confidence to stand her ground as she defends her dressing style and her look. It's too bad there wasn't a live audience to enjoy this one. Do you remember the 2017 Emmys? In 1980, Dolly Parton starred with Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda in a hilarious film called 9 to 5. She reunited with her co-stars at the 69th Emmy Awards in 2017 when the three of them presented an award. The ladies got a standing ovation when they walked on stage. Dolly stated she appreciated the love. The ladies talked about their experience on the film and moved on to discuss the award they were presenting for Best Supporting Actor. Dolly stated she was hoping to have a great time and hoping to get one of those Grace and Frankie vibrators in my swag bag tonight. As expected, the audience roared with laughter. Well, Miss Piggy, let's stick with Dolly Parton's role in 9 to 5. In between takes, she often joked around with her co-stars. She wasn't afraid to make the odd dirty joke with them either. During a scene in a locker room, Dolly asked, "Do you know what's green and smells like Miss Piggy?" The reaction was priceless when she answered her own question. She wasn't afraid to tell a dirty joke, and the fact that Dolly is so adorable makes her the ideal person to get away with such risque humor. Dolly's outfits. In a video produced for Vogue magazine, Dolly recalled some of the outfits designed for her. She recalled a dress she wore for Dolly's variety show. She said her dresses were designed by Tony Chase. She said that Tony would make dresses that always had big shoulders, which wasn't always ideal. She told Tony, "Tony, you just gotta tone it down a little. There ain't nothing big about me but my mouth and my boobs." Unfortunately, there wasn't a live audience to react with laughter and applause to that one. We can't get enough of Dolly. Dolly always loved making jokes about her breasts. She recalled a story on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon about an elderly man who got upset and started striking her with his walking stick. This shocked Jimmy Fallon, who asked what happened. Dolly laughed and said, "What do you mean what happened?" She then got up and made a joke about how her breasts stayed up at all times. While co-hosting a show with the late Regis Philbin, Dolly pointed to a magazine where she was listed as one of the worst-dressed stars. But this didn't faze her, and she managed to laugh about it. She recalled how some designers would pay her not to reveal their identity. She also stated she had walked the red carpet and worn it. She also wasn't afraid to take a dig at the writer. She said she felt happier than the person who wrote the scathing remarks and was, quote, "glad he came out of his closet long enough to look in mine." Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think these crazy interview moments help boost Dolly's popularity? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.